Welcome guys to another 6Q kata and code wars. Let's get to understand the question. If we list all the natural numbers below 10 that are multiples of 3 or 5, we get this range. The sum of these numbers here is 23. Finish the solution so that it returns the sum of all the multiples of 3 or 5 below the number. Okay, if the number is a multiple of both 3 and 5, only count it once. If the number is negative, return 0. Right, we can handle that right away. If the number is less than 0, we can return 0. I think if it's also equal to 0, because we won't have a multiple of 3 or 5 at 0. Okay, the first approach I have in mind is to create an array that is going to have a collection of the numbers starting from 1 to number that are multiples of 3 and 5. So if I have like an array, and then I'm going to construct the list of numbers that are multiples of 3 and 5 so that I can just get the sum. So for the number to be a multiple of 3 and 5, it has to start at 3. Yep. If I start at 3, y is less than this number, I'm going to check if that number divided by 3 has a 0 remainder. If it's divisible by 3, if you wish, or if it's divisible by 5. If that's the case, I'll construct my array, so I'll have to push the number inside. Now this OR part here is going to take care automatically of the duplicates, like this notice here. If a number is a multiple of both 3 and 5, only count it once. With the OR, it's going to be counted once. Yeah. Okay. So I now have my array. I just need to get the sum. So I can do that with the reduce function. I'll just return the array reduced. It takes 2 parameters, the accumulator and the number. It returns something like this. So the number keeps adding to the accumulator. Basically that's it. Let's see. Right. Okay, let's submit. I have a failing case. I need to debug this. The first thing will be to display the original numbers. Number is this. I just want to know what was given for it to fill here. So the number is 1. Okay, what are we supposed to return if the number is 1? We're supposed to return 0. So if this number is less than or equal to 2, we should also return 0, because 2 and 1 cannot be multiples of 3 and 5. I think that can solve it. Whoa, we still have an error. What if the number is 3? Why is this guy not managing that? So here it's because it starts at 3. It doesn't enter the for loop. You remember, it ends at less than the number, so it's supposed to be less than or equal to, so that for this case it will enter the for loop, and we're going to push the 3 inside. If 3 is the number, it basically means we're going to push 3 inside this array at the level of line 7, and we're going to do a sum of an array with one element 3, which is correct. Okay, let's try that. Whoa, caused more damage. This is crazy. Okay, well, what if we come back to a basic 0 here, and let's just let I to loop normally from starting from 1 to worse. Alright, I'll come back to 2 here, and then 3 here. This makes more sense. Attempt. Now this is where it's failing. To go further with the debug, I'm going to display this array to see what's inside. Okay, why is it failing? So array is actually empty. What? You see, it's empty, so we can reduce an empty array. Okay, well, since this is just a one case scenario, we can handle it here. Like if the number is 3, return 3. We can handle it in a different line. I'm just looking for a way to include it inside here. What if I start thinking, why does this equal to not work? Actually just fails. When number is 3, we have the 3. So okay, when number is 3, we have an empty array. Now I want to check if it enters this loop at all. I'll just put some X here. Okay, let's come back to when x is 3. I'm going to comment this one. Yeah, you see, we don't have this x. It means it doesn't enter the for loop. That's why this array stays empty. Okay, and why doesn't it enter? It's because of this condition here. I starts at 3 and ends at less than 3, so the interval doesn't match. And when I put equal to, it doesn't match either. So basically we can just deal with it here. If the number is if the number given is equal to 3 or it's equal to 5, there's no need to loop. We can just return the number itself. Yep. Okay, let's try that. That should be fine. Expected 0 got 2. Expected 2, yeah, got 5. Why expected 2? Oh yeah, if n is 5, remember it's a sequence. If n is 5, okay, let me put it on a block note here. If n is 5, then we can have 3. When n is 5, we have 5 numbers between 1 and 5. It's 1, 2, 3, 5. Now, 2 of them are multiples of 3 and 5, which is 3 and 5. So if n is 5, we get this, and the sum of this is 8. So I will just deal with the 3. Oh, sorry, if it's equal to 5. Okay. I'm in the wrong place. Here. Let's deal with the 3. For the 5, the 4 take care of it. Still 1. This is crazy. Expected 0 got 3. So 3 is so why does that work? I thought 3 is a multiple of 3 by 1. Anyway, this is what we get. It's so confusing, but that's it. Alright, so I'm just cleaning up the code and final submission and submit. Is it my internet? Submit. This is crazy. Alright, so let's just go through. I think this is basically the same solution, but this is a little bit more performant, because if you remember our solution, we have an array that we fill up before summing. So that array is going to occupy memory space. This one just does the summation at once, and we don't have that memory space occupied by a huge array, especially if a number is very big. So those are tactics to make it more efficient. What about these? I don't know, just scroll through. This looks like the most efficient. It's the same thing as the first one. Okay, this is just a one-liner. I think it's same solution like me, just more complicated in representation, because he has an array that he fills and then he reduces. Same here, he has an array that he fills and filters by the divisibility by 3 and 5, and then he reduces, as same as our algorithm. And this is the more efficient one I was talking about. So this tend to be most of the solutions used. What is this? This looks like a lot of computation. I don't want to get into it. Yeah, this is the more efficient one, just not visually attractive. And this is the same thing we did, filling up an array and then checking if they are divisible by 5 or 3, and summing up using a reduce function. So guys, it looks like every solution is about that. So see you on the next video for another